Om Purnamataha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Nilambujasyamalakomalangam Sita Samaropitavamabhagam Panau Mahasayakacharuchap Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus, who is very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side, and he is carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. Details I have given to you before. Presently, I am coming into the present subject matter. That's Balakand of Saint Tulsidasa's Ramcharitmanas. And verses close to Doha 16. Saint Tulsidas is introducing to you the characters of the Ramayana in a highly poetic manner. प्रगटेउ जहाँ रघुपति सस्य चारु विश्व सुखद कल कमल तुषारु. In where Raghupati, God as Rama, Krishna, Radha, Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Satrughna, in four aspected way manifested. These are the heroic characters that we will find in the Ramayana. The Tulsidas gives those names that are highly important. These four, Vishwa Sukhad, delighter of the universe, but Khal Kamal Tusaru, all the Khal. Khal refers to Dusht. Dushta Chatushtaya. It refers to Asuri Sampat. All negative qualities that drag the soul down, they come under Khal. For those forces of darkness, Rama in four aspects, they were like the frost, while the forces of darkness are like lotuses. You can easily imagine what will happen to the lotuses when the big frost comes over. The role of Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Satrughna is to lead the soul to mukti, liberation. In that process, all the forces of darkness that constantly restricts your viveka buddhi, your discriminative knowledge, that discriminative knowledge you will soon find as Sita. Dasharatha Rao Sahita Sabarani Sukrit Sumangala Murati Mani Karau Pranam Karama Manabani Karahu Kripa Sut Devakajani Sevakajani Jinhai Virachi Bhayav Vidhata Mahima Avadhi Rama Pitumata. King Dasharatha, along with his queens, 3 queens, Dasharatha is presenting himself as Jiva in the early stage. Jiva that is involved in immense good actions. Mystically speaking, Jiva is wedded to 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Sattva is Kausalya, 3 queens. Sumitra is Rajas. Kaikeyi is Tamas. Again, you must also understand, whenever we talk of gunas, they have equal importance because they are all from Prakriti. But only in the context where Jiva is being led to degradation then that tamas is called negative. If you didn't have tamas, you wouldn't go to sleep. So tamas in itself is not all negative. Same way rajas. Rajas is more distractions. It has again two aspects, positive, negative. If distractions are degrading you, you are moving in a negative way. If distractions are uplifting you, how can distractions uplift? You go into a satsang and you see different faces, and then you get distracted. But in spite of these different faces, you are inspired. The more you see others enjoying it, the more you listen to different meanings, all that requires rajas. But rajas is positive in this context. Same way, sattva can be negative or positive. If sattva is in a smaller quantity, then it plays a negative role. Because by the time sattva gives you happiness, rajas and tamas come in and delude your mind. I always give a simple illustration. You went on a tour, saw in an island early in the morning, rising sun, and you felt so joyous. Sattva entered your mind. But hardly it entered your mind, you began to imagine how it would be if I had always this possibility, day by day. So mathematically you calculated 1 ounce of happiness I have now. If I have always a house here, I will have tons of happiness. And soon you become involved with borrowing money, getting a property, building up a house right close by the ocean. And then constantly giving attention to the weather forecast. Is salami coming this way? So, little sattva puts you into big trouble. That's an important point in Vedic psychology. Therefore, punya karma, good karma, should not satisfy you. You should go on doing more and more and more. How good should you be? There is no limit. You should be as good as one would deserve, being Indra, the Lord of gods. But even that attainment is not the highest. But your good actions should create sattva to such an extent that you develop paravairagya. If sattva is in a very advanced state, your attention, your goal becomes liberation. If sattva is not in an advanced state, your goal is finding perfection in a world of limitations. You go after prosperity, so many types of happiness in the world. And sattva allows you to have them. But only defect is that they don't give you complete satisfaction. And also, they pass away. The virtue behind that attainment is that you get great opportunity if your mind has developed devotion. Sattvic situation will give you great opportunity for turning your mind Godwards, because it gives you more peace, serenity, ability to serve others. But also understand that those who are advanced, even negative circumstances they face, they serve the purpose of austerity. So deep mental attitude should remain in the spirit of surrender to God. Oh God, if you are giving me slaps, it's wonderful. My ears will become red. I'm joking. If you are giving me encouragement, positive, that's wonderful. As long as it comes from your hand, touched by your hand, it becomes prasad. But not touched by your hand, neither the prosperity is helpful to you nor the adversity. King Dasharatha represents that type of soul that has gained immense good karmas and as a result has come to a point where the world of pravritti is no longer desired. The word of pravritti means coming back into the world, into the cycle of birth and death. When sattva has become a dominating feature, love of God begins to unfold in your heart. Compared to that love of God and the joy it gives, all attainments in the world of time and space become just a straw. Quickly said, but it becomes a straw in progressive manner. So I offer adorations to those three queens who gave birth to four aspects of God. Rama represents Tattva Gyan. Lakshmana represents Saguna Bhakti, devotion. Bharata represents profound meditation, dhyana, as well as Nirguna Bhakti. And Shatrugna represents karma. Four yogas have become into four divine personalities. Karma yoga is to purify your heart. Shatrugna's role is how to render your heart nirmal, free your mind of anger, hate, greed, etc. And in order to render your mind nirmal, karma yoga is the path. How to turn your daily duties into a spiritually enriching process. Whatever duties are, they may be very small, they may be looking very big. Swadharma. Whatever Swadharma has come to you, view it as an opportunity of worshipping God through the performance of your duties. Your duties can be for your own relatives, children, grandchildren. Your duties can be for human society around you. In divine plan, whatsoever is your duty. Whatever work you do, then again, mind should not go into that problem, what is my duty and what is not. Whatsoever work you are already involved in is Swadharma. If you take it, face it with a Godward mind, it becomes a process of worship. It purifies your heart. But no matter how grand work you may be doing, and if there is no devotion in your heart, Chitta Shuddhi is not taking place, your heart is not being purified, then that's not Karma Yoga. It's simply creating karma. And led by karma, you can go up and down, and there is no end to it. This is the highlights of Hindu culture, Hindu philosophy. On one side, the world of karma, called bhoga. Another side, moksha, liberation. Sometimes we give blessings, may you have bhoga and moksha. In that case, bhoga relates to that type of enjoyment that draws your mind to God. Same enjoyment can draw you to the worldliness, can draw you to satsanga, to divine stages. And of course, Rama is the central figure. Rama is Brahman, the Absolute. Karam pranam karma man bani. I offer adorations to all these characters. How do you offer it? Mana bachana karma. 3 ways. Manasa vacha karmana. Through mind, by your thinking, thoughts and feelings. Vacha, through your words. Karmana, through your action. If you are not well integrated, your action is in this direction. Your speech is in this direction. And your thinking process is spiraling somewhere. You are not altogether integrated. If you are not integrated, you are not healthy. It's just like you are living, but you don't know where your heart is. Heart trouble, but it can't be dealt with doctor. Jinahi birachi bada bhayavu vidhata. Even these avatars, Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrugna, they were created by Brahma, the creator. Brahma goes on creating so many things. But when he creates highly advanced state of integration, represented by Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrugna, when he creates that spirit, that is his highest creation. Try to understand the point. In this creation of Brahma, what is the most important thing? The important thing is that creative process that brings into the mind of an aspirant aspiration for attaining liberation. So even the mind of the aspirant, the body of the aspirant, his nervous system, they all owe their existence to Brahma, the creator. But creator, having fashioned these, is now playing a very profound role, leading your soul to liberation. But to the vast majority of people, creator goes on creating, and the soul goes on experiencing repeated cycles of birth and death. So all his creation is anityam, asukham. So the simple point, how to change this Vidhata's creation. If you are not practicing your sadhana, not turning to japa, meditation, satsanga, then you are living your life led by your karmas. And karmas are not well defined. They are like gambling, gamble of karma. But if you have done good deeds and if you have followed the path of righteousness, then you develop a spiritual aspiration for putting an end to karmas. No longer you depend upon karmic fruits. Your movement is to liberation. And you don't view karmas as a handicap. All this point will be later further developed. Bandam avadh bhual satya prem jahi ram pad vichurat deen dayal priyatanutrina iva parihareu. I adore the king of Ayodhya, King Dasharatha, whose love for Rama's feet was unshakable. The moment he became separated from Rama, he discarded his body just like it would be a straw. Try to understand the profound meaning behind it. That's the ideal to work for every aspirant. Continue to understand that body-mind set, that's your personality, that's transient. That's not you. The body-mind set is a kind of a cell phone. Your spirit is far beyond your body-mind limitations. Now, in order to attain that freedom, mind must turn to japa, japa of divine name. In the practice of japa, there are two stages. A stage where you go on repeating the mantra in a mechanical way. Even in that mechanical repetition of mantra, there is immense benefit. And those points will be brought out in the Ramayana with more detail. When you continue repeating your mantra with deeper feeling, mantra chaitanya is awakened. The same mantra now becomes exceedingly dynamic, and your mind staggers regarding the immense power of the mantra. But all that becomes possible, first, you're becoming interested, being initiated, becoming interested in reciting the name. The Ramayana has chosen the name Ram. The Vedas prescribed Om. And Om and Ram have received immense attention from countless sages from ancient times. Any mantra that has received lot of devotion and attention gains special potency. Homeopathic doctors speak of potency. It's the same thing gone through. Repeat activity again and again. So Ram, Om, Krishna, and all mantras have equal importance. So while Tulsidas ji will go on saying Ram, Ram, and you join Ram, Ram, it's perfectly same as whoever is your Ishta Devata. Krishna, Shiva, Saraswati, Hanuman, whoever is your Ishta Devata. Ram Nam, you may repeat, or you may repeat Om Shri Hanumate Namah, Om Shri Krishnaya Namah. From a very broad point of view, you are repeating Ram, Ram. It's a little hard to understand. Because people get confused. You are a Krishna devotee. Each time you go through the Ramayana, always you hear, you should repeat Ram, Ram. And your mind gets into little conflict. It should not. Because while to Tulsidas it is Ram, Ram. To Surdas it is Krishna, Krishna. To Meera it is Krishna, Krishna. So there is no contradiction. And God has 1,000 names. But any name that has become your central support, your Ishta mantra, that becomes greater than all countless names. And yet, if you have time, you go through Sahasranam and allow your mind to be enriched. But your goal is to bring such love and concentration that with one utterance of Ram, you are arousing a sentiment so profound in your heart. Try to see in the practical world, you deal with so many people, say so many things. But when your beloved daughter or son is near you, then one utterance of that name of whosoever is your dear one, that one utterance of that name allows your heart to swell up with good feeling. Try to work out the same type of relation with God. And you continue doing so. When that state has developed, mantra that was just mechanical, now it has gained a special power. It's called Mantra Chaitanya has been awakened. An illustration of King Dasharatha has a powerful message. Dasharatha gives that illustration. No matter where you are, no matter what yoga you practice, no matter whether you have studied the Vedanta and all great principles of Vedanta or not, just remember one point. Die with Ram Naam in your lips. And if you die with uttering Ram Ram, already I have explained to you, Ram Ram means Krishna Krishna, Guru Guru, or whatsoever. If you die with that utterance of divine name, your life has been successful. But you are dying with utterance of what happened to my money? Who is taking care of my business? All that I'm just joking, but the idea is human mind, the last thought in the divine creation works like a mathematical resultant. So many thoughts you have, but last thought is a resultant of many thoughts that you have gone on entertaining through your life. And no matter whatever you may set your mind to, that I will be, there is whole stories about it. One person was so convinced that the last name, the last word I utter, that will lead me to liberation. And so he named divine name to all his sons and anything that was dear to him. And when he stayed dying, he said, is Raman here? Lakshmana is here? And they said, all are here, all are here. But who is taking care of the shop? So his last word was shop. So, for divine name to become your focus, at the time of death you are not the controller. But if you are enhancing your devotion to mantra day by day with satsanga, etc., even though your mind may go on wandering all over, the last thought will come right there. Dasharatha represents that personality. And when you have that, tanu trina eva parihareu, death is one of the most distressing, sorrowful state. But that sorrowful state is if your mind has not been introduced to spirituality. But if the mind has been introduced to spirituality, even while living with your body is not you. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect. Even living with your body, you go on growing with the understanding that body is actually simply trapping your cosmic energy into a little cell phone. Shedding the cell phone has no loss to the soul. Vasansi jirnani yatha vihaya. Just like clothes are thrown out, the bodies are thrown out, new bodies, soul goes on taking until it becomes liberated. So, facing death is not a terrible calamity. That again is a subjective matter. It's not a matter that you start telling others. To others, you must realize you are facing social value. And you cannot just say, don't you know, soul is immortal. Rejoice that somebody is dead. But it is a subjective matter. And that you have to work upon it. That's a profound objective for every individual. How do you face challenging situations and emerge unaffected by it? If body has to be shed, ultimately Sri Ram. प्रणवं परिजन सहित विदेहु जाहि राम पद गूढ़ सनेहु जोग भोग महराखेउ गोई राम बिलोकत प्रगटेउ सोई. I offer adorations to King Videha, also known as King Janaka. Videha means bodiless, which implies the potentiality of Videha Mukti. Janaka plays that role, that he has already attained enlightenment and he is detached from the notion I am the body. It is that ultimate truth, the truth of the soul, that is Videha. It is that spirit that brings forth daughter Sita. Sita is Viveka Buddhi. Viveka Buddhi, the father of Viveka Buddhi is Videha, bodiless consciousness. So the profound truths of philosophy are brought into human characters. So the bodiless state is King Janaka. And the daughter who will lead Rama to that state, Sita, is daughter of King Janaka. King Janaka had all his potential hidden in yoga and bhoga. His personality was constantly involved in righteous deeds and enjoying the fruits of good karmas and practice of yoga, practice of all spiritual examples of how to live a lofty life. To the world, he was a great king, but his inner mystical dimension was hidden from the view of others, that he was transcendental, that he had destroyed all his karmas. Meeting Rama brings about what is hidden in King Janaka, his yoga and bhoga and the secret behind it. In a simple story form, when King Janaka sees Rama, he goes into ecstasy. Who is this Rama? He is supposed to be the knower of Brahman. And yet, Rama captivated his mind. The subtle point again. Realization has two aspects. One aspect, neti neti, nothing exists. Another aspect, all this is Brahman. So Janaka's one aspected role, nothing exists, was supplemented by Rama's coming into the life of Janaka and marrying Sita. All this becomes a very profound insight. Pranavo prasam bharat ke charana, jasu nema brat jayi navarana. And I offer my adorations to the lotus feet of Bharata. Bharata, whose vow and his righteous action cannot be described. Ramacharan pankaja manajasu lubudha madhupa iva tajaina pasu. Bharata's mind had become like a bee, constantly drawn to the lotus feet of Rama, never being separated from the lotus feet. Bharata's role again is very profound. Bharata, upasana or worship, has different stages. First stage is called Sagun Sakar, God with form and attributes. So you have Rama, his form, etc., then attributes. He is omniscient, omnipotent, all-permeating, the source of all joy. There is 1,000 names. And the early stage, the first step to Upasana is Sagun Sakar. In Ramayana plan, Lakshmana plays the role of Sagun Sakar. He stays with Rama. He wouldn't be separated from Rama. And at the same time, he goes on worshipping Rama's attributes. Bharata's role is Sagun Nirakar. Bharata is not constantly seeing Rama, but his mind is saturated with Rama's virtues. And all those virtuous qualities that he meditates upon comes from one little symbol from Rama, Rama's sandal. Sagun and Nirgun, that's called Sagun Nirakar. Sagun Sakar, first, Sagun Nirakar, second. Third level is Nirgun Nirakar. Nirgun Nirakar is automatic climaxing of the movement, where God becomes neither form nor attributes. Because you understand, no matter how wonderful attribute you entertain in your mind, it is not the God. See, later in the Mahabharata, in the Ramayana, Tulsidas describes Rama is greater than thousands of Vishnus, thousands of Shivas, thousands of Brahmas, implying that all your concept you put together to describe God, Brahman, all those concepts never equal the reality. That's called Nirgun Nirakar worship. All these three types of worship are blended in the Ramayana. Bandau Lachiman Pada Jalajata, Sital Subhag Bhagat Sukhadata, Raghupati Kirati Vimala Pataka, Danda Samana Bhayav Jasajaka. I offer adorations to the lotus feet of Lakshmana. Those lotus feet are cool, beautiful, giver of great delight to the devotees. Rama is just like a flag, Vimala Pataka, a flag that to be adored by all. Lakshmana is the pole of that flag, the staff. It is the staff that makes the flag go up and down. It is the staff that rattles all the time. The flag simply expresses its glory. So Rama expresses his glory. But in Tulsi Ramayana, every now and then, Rama says something, Lakshmana speaks up. But whatever he speaks up is meant to glorify Rama. So that type of relation Lakshmana and Rama had, like with a staff and the flag. शेष सहस्र शीस जग कारण, जो अवतरेउ भूमि भय तारन, सदा सो सानुकूल रहमो पर, कृपा सिंधु सौमित्री गुसुना गुनाकर. And Lakshmana represents cosmic mind. In a storyline and in a poetic way, cosmic mind is described as a Shesha serpent with 1,000 hooves. But not to take in literally, it means a mind with 1,000 thought waves. Cosmic mind with 1,000 thought waves. And in the enfolded by all this is Lord Vishnu, the sustainer of the universe. Lord Vishnu is Rama. And that Sheshanag that sustains the divine presence is Lakshmana. Ripusudana pad kabala namami, Sura sushil bharatanugami, Mahabhira vinvam Hanumana, Ramajasu jasap bakhana. And I offer adorations to Sri Shatrughna. Shatrughna is the youngest brother. Shatru means enemies. Enemies means dark forces. Forces of the lower self. Anger, hate, greed, delusion, pride, conceit, infatuation, perversions of desires. These are all called malas. They are the malos. And they are the enemy. Shatrughna's role is to remove mala, enhance the purity of a heart. And he goes along with Lakshmana. It is Lakshmana and Shatrughna, they are twins. But in practical story, Shatrughna and Bharata lived together while Rama and Lakshmana were in the forest. The idea behind it, Shatrughna paved the way for Bharata's intense devotion. Bharata represents profound devotion, a meditative mind. And meditative mind won't be successful if malas are not removed. So Shatrughna aspect goes on removing mala. Kabira man nirmal bhayo jaise Ganga neer. Saint Tulsi Kabira says, when mind became pure like Ganges water, Pache lage hari fire kahat Kabir Kabir. It didn't have to go after God, looking for him where he is. God goes after me. As if shouting, Kabir, Kabir, don't leave me alone. So Shatrughna's role is remover of mala. Pranavam Pavan Kumar Khalabana Pavaka Jnana Ghan, Jasu Hirdaya Agar Basahi Rama Sarachapadhar. And I offer adorations to Lord Hanuman, who is the destroyer of the forest of dusht beings. Dusht means wicked. Wicked means people who are embodiments of dark forces, the embodiments of the lower self. And Hanuman destroys them. In Sundarkand, that story comes in where Hanuman sets Lanka on fire and destroys so many negative forces. And at the same time, Hanuman is embodiment of profound wisdom, Jnana Ghan, his embodiment of knowledge, but not ordinary knowledge, Jnana Ghan, intense, dense knowledge, is the embodiment of Tattva Jnana, the knowledge of the self. In him, that knowledge of the self is perfectly in a profound manner. Therefore, once Rama asked Hanuman, how am I related to you? Hanuman says, Deha buddhyatu dasoham. From the point of view of body, I am a slave, you are the master. Jiva buddhyatu danshaka. From the point of view of the soul, I am a ray and you are the sun. Atmodhyatavaivaham. From the point of view of the innermost self, I and you are one and the same. Hanuman represents all the three blended. And that's the purpose of Tattva Gyan. And with this I will conclude. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.